Was a $14.7 billion profitable chip plant seized? The trap set by the US and Europe. In the late autumn of 2023, amidst undercurrents in the semiconductor industry, a piece of explosive news shook the global tech sphere. A Chinese-controlled enterprise, with an annual revenue exceeding 100 billion renminbi and net profits as high as 14.7 billion renminbi, had not only generated a colossal 130 million euros in taxes for the local Dutch government, but also achieved a remarkable zero debt miracle on its financial statements thanks to its robust operations. However, just as the company's senior management team was celebrating the imminent launch of a new generation chip production line, the Dutch government suddenly invoked an amendment to the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, IEPA, executing a blitzkrieg that involved the court issuing a freeze order, asset seizure, and board reorganization, all within 48 hours. The Chinese founder was taken in for questioning by Dutch police under the pretext of cooperating with an anti-monopoly investigation, and was forcibly dismissed by an emergency shareholders meeting the following day. From freezing overseas accounts to replacing the management, this capital grab, masked as compliance, caused the enterprise to lose control over its global supply chain overnight. On what international norm did the Dutch government rely to strike so ruthlessly against a major taxpayer? What kind of geopolitical maneuvering is hidden behind this seemingly ordinary commercial dispute? Nexperia, Unshi Semiconductor, is no ordinary small factory. Its automotive-grade chips are like the pacemakers of a car. Half of its 25,000 global customers are European and American car manufacturers. The smooth acceleration and braking of your new energy vehicle likely rely on its chips for power control. When Chinese capital spent 26.8 billion renminbi to acquire it in 2019, the industry hailed it as a treasure find. What's even more staggering is the speed at which this power grab storm swept through. In the early morning of September 30th, local time, the Dutch government abruptly issued an export freeze order for semiconductor equipment, like a depth charge dropped into a calm lake. Before the ink was even dry on the decree, 3 foreign executives, from the US, Germany, and Japan, quickly formed an iron triangle, submitting an emergency lawsuit to the Hague District Court through a transnational legal team, citing government interference in commercial freedom. The legal proceedings were a judicial blitzkrieg, in their compactness. Only 7 days passed from the filing, evidence presentation, to the opening of the trial. At 1400 hours on the afternoon of October 7th, a single court ruling directly stripped the related enterprise of its core operational control. The entire process was seamlessly orchestrated, with efficiency comparable to minute-level delivery on a food platform, and so precise that it seemed to have been modeled countless times, leading to the suspicion that a meticulously planned script had been playing out all along. This is absolutely no accident. Today, let's dissect how are the US and Europe using national security as a pretext to seize companies. What fatal traps are hidden for Chinese enterprises going global? And what truths should ordinary people understand? The US-European review phase swap, from blocked acquisition to seized control. Don't think Nexperia is an isolated case. In 2021, Nexperia spent £63 million to buy the UK's largest wafer fab, NWF. Just 2 years into operation, the UK invoked a newly effective law for retrospective review, forcing it to sell the factory to a US company for $177 million. Germany was even tougher, directly halting Fujian Grand Chip Investments' acquisition of Germany's Aixtron in 2016, also citing national security, even though the company's technology was already 2 generations behind. The most ironic case is the US, which vetoed a Chinese acquisition of semiconductor testing company Sera in 2018, only to let an American company take over at a low price. Now, the US and Europe are playing an even more extreme game. Previously, they blocked mergers. Now, once you operate well and become profitable, they use administrative orders to seize control. The Nexperia seizure happened exactly when the demand for automotive-grade chips surged and its market share rose to 9.7%, This is not about preventing risk. It's outright banditry, disguised as wealth redistribution. 2. The US-European concentric trap. The Netherlands is just a pawn. The chips are the target. The Netherlands dares to be so aggressive because of the US shadow behind it. Remember, the Netherlands is ASML's home. Under US pressure in 2023, the Netherlands banned the export of the most advanced lithography machines. In 2024, the restrictions were extended to DUV lithography machines. The Nexperia incident is even harsher. The US released new rules in September, requiring control over subsidiaries where a listed entity holds over 50%. And the Netherlands froze Nexperia at the end of September. The timing was more punctual than an alarm clock. The EU is also setting the stage on the side, passing the European Chips Act in 2023, injecting €43 billion to increase its global market share from 10% to 20%. But building chips themselves is too slow. Seizing existing assets is the fastest way. Nexperia has a FinFET process factory in Germany and a power semiconductor R&D center in the UK, exactly the capacities the EU is lacking. Isn't this acting under the banner of self-sufficiency while committing asset grabs? Commentary: this US-European coordinated robbery scheme is utterly insidious. The US, leveraging its hegemonic position in the global semiconductor field, sets the tone first, pressuring its allies under the pretext of national security to cooperate with its chip industry containment strategy. The EU closely follows the US lead, formulating a series of seemingly justified trade policies to find reasons for restricting the development of foreign chip companies. The Netherlands, as a key player in global semiconductor equipment manufacturing, willingly acts as the enforcer, strictly controlling the export of core equipment like lithography machines, translating the US's containment intentions into reality. They loudly proclaim supply chain security, but in reality, they treat the global industrial chain as their private property, manipulating it at will. 3. The executive betrayal scam. A perfect script of government corporate collusion. The critical step in Nexperia's seizure was the precise betrayal of the 3 foreign executives. The Dutch legal officer took the lead, closely followed by the German CFO and COO. Immediately after the government order, they filed a lawsuit, and the court skipped the trial, directly ruling to seize control. This is not professional managers defending their rights. It is clearly a prearranged, inside job. Contrast this with a normal commercial dispute. Even if there is conflict between shareholders and management, the legal process takes months. Yet, in the Nexperia case, only 8 days passed from the order to the seizure. Even more suspicious is that these 3 executives earned high salaries and enjoyed benefits under Chinese control. Nexperia's R&D investment grew by 153% in 5 years, and their bonuses rose accordingly. Their sudden betrayal is, to put it plainly, joining the government in dividing the spoils to gain greater benefits. This incident is a wake-up call for all companies going global. Strategic control must be maintained in the personnel configuration of overseas subsidiaries for core positions. Legal, finance, and other departments directly relate to a company's compliance lifeline and capital security. Entrusting these lifeblood departments entirely to foreign nationals is tantamount to exposing the company's throat. What's more alarming is that some executives appear obedient to headquarters directives but secretly weave a network of relationships, tearing off their disguise once the external environment changes, turning accumulated trust into a weapon to harm the company. Therefore, in overseas governance structures, companies must not only establish dual-track supervision for key positions but also conduct regular loyalty assessments for management to prevent the tragedy of raising a tiger to be devoured. 4. A breakthrough for Chinese enterprises. Stop believing in globalization. Self-reliance is the only confidence. Wingitech technology was not without resistance, launching international litigation, seeking support from the Chinese government, and urgently stabilizing its 25,000 customers. However, cross-border litigation is lengthy, and the Dutch court has the home advantage, making it extremely difficult to regain control. This incident serves as a warning to all Chinese enterprises. Assets in sensitive overseas fields are Roses with thorns. They look appealing but can draw blood at any moment. The industry had warnings earlier. Chinese investment in Europe dropped by 22% in 2022, and high-tech M&A plunged by 57% in the first half of 2025. Now is the time for a complete awakening, instead of gambling in the high-risk zones of Europe and the US. Better to invest the money in independent R&D. Nexperia was seized, but its Dingguan packaging base can achieve a 98% yield rate. This shows that China can handle high-end manufacturing. What is lacking is only time and investment. Commentary: security cannot be bought. Nexperia's 26.8 billion renminbi asset can be gone in a flash. But technology developed independently cannot be seized by anyone. China's self-sufficiency rate for automotive-grade chips is currently less than 15%. If we grit our teeth and achieve breakthroughs, we can not only replace Nexperia's capacity but also break free from dependence on US and European technology. Those who scoff at slow independent R&D should wake up. Slow is better than being seized, and doing it late is better than forever being choked. After witnessing the Nexperia seizure farce, you should understand, in core areas like semiconductors, there are no neutral nations and no iron rules, only power counts. What pitfalls should Chinese enterprises avoid when venturing abroad? Where should independent R&D begin? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section. Follow me for more truths about the tech game.